and we did a lot of work, a lot of research, loads of studies. And the reason that the government watchdog wouldn't allow us to improve them was that they said that we hadn't proven that the first round of minimum energy performance standards had had an impact. And one of our problems was data. We couldn't find enough information about the change in the market to prove that we had an impact. So they said you can't regulate a second time if you can't prove that you've done this. So one of the problems we found was getting, because transformers are not sold through shops, you can't go to a market research company and buy the data to find out what the performance was and how it had changed over time. We couldn't get the data from our own testing because we didn't do very much testing, because you can't go and buy a transformer from a shop and test it. So how can we collectively help governments in those sectors where the supply chain is a bit different? How do we do compliance? How do we collect data on markets in those areas?
I'll try. Yeah, I don't think it's a right or wrong answers. Our experience in this region, working with the utilities, I think is probably the most effective way to reach out to the manufacturers. If you look at ASEAN region in my chart, more than 70% of the installations were done by utilities. In the case of Vietnam, I think Malaysia, Thailand is the same. A lot of private sector transformers were also procured and installed through the utilities. So the utilities are the big customer, and through our relationship with the utilities in Vietnam, we are able to bring the manufacturers to provide data so that we have a good source of reference and provide proof eventually on the impact of raising the energy performance. So my comment, my suggestion would be to start with the utilities as a key partner for this project.
Yeah, just to add to that, what we have done on the transformer side, particularly with data, is with manufacturers, getting data from them. Obviously, there's less manufacturers on transformers than the other products that we cover, so it has helped to understand and do it's the higher level assessments we do. But still, it's been a lot easier than the other products just because of the limited amounts. So thinking about that at the national level, I think a similar approach could be followed, working, as Beck said, with utilities, but then also pushing from the government side, maybe international organizations, to get manufacturers to provide the data as well. Some will be incentivized to provide that. They're producing high efficiency products.
I also would like to, add on to the efficiency level of the transformer. The WEB standard, which is specified in the US system, the 50%, actually it created by the negotiation between the transformer industry and the regulator, because they came up with some study and conclude that the average loading is actually around 50%. And that's why they come up with the efficiency level at the 50% loading in their standard. But it doesn't mean that loading point will be appropriate for respective ASEAN member countries. I would imagine that you would need to talk to the utilities. Most of the our neighboring countries, ASEAN member states, still the power industry is still monopoly. We have only few utilities in the country, so if you have the put your effort, I don't think it's going to be too difficult to collect data. I'm not saying it's easy. It's going to be very challenging, but I believe it's doable. That would be my contribution to this. Any other questions? I would like to. Then can I ask a question to Mr. Hugo? I'm curious that you have the benchmarking for the Chinese industry. I saw you have different, energy per tons of the clinker and the cement that you produce. Have you ever compared with the international best practices of the energy consumption per tons of the cement produced?
So I think because I'm introducing the benchmark study, because we didn't do this study, but I think there must be a lot of institutes in China working in this benchmark study. I'm here just to introduce the scheme, and also if the requirements, I can bridge the Chinese experts and also institutes to all of you. I think that's a role of to open the door and then to bring the people in. I think that's an answer. I think for cement itself, I think there must be, the China Energy Research Institute and I think China, some like ESCO association, they must do this, or they cannot make such kind of standard, because for each standard, they have a draft, they have the list of experts and institutes involved in the standard development. So if we want some information, we can download for us to download the standards, just identify the key experts. Normally the first 3 persons will be in charge of the process. Then we contact them directly, maybe by a friend, or maybe just go to the website, direct contact them, and then to ask information from them. I think that's, I think my role here is just to open the door for you to access Chinese resources.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Bill?
Just very briefly, the IEA has been doing some of this work for Japan as part of their G20 presidency this year. So we've been doing some benchmarking with the major industrial sectors. So if anybody's interested in that information, it's really only the big sectors that we've been able to find data for, but we do have something.
Yes, actually, we are encouraged by Energy Foundation to start some regional benchmarking also in ASEAN countries. This time we chose textile as a pilot product, but still on the research. But I think for next phases, we can choose one common product which China has, and also maybe the ASEAN country is also important. Then we can do some joint research together. I think definitely no problem for me, and also for our founder.
Oh, last question. Oh, I'm so shocked. Anyway, any more questions from the floor? Anyone want to ask Kuchitisan on our program is going to do in your country? Okay, please.
I have 2 questions. One question from Mr. Becci is on the transformer, and another question from the Patrick's on the new policy guideline. Question on the transformer, can you explain us on the financial mechanism on the total cost of ownership, because it's related to the loss of the transformer, right? In Thailand, let's say some cases that we have the big building or condominium that we have a transformer, and we have a small owner of the rooms, and how this cost transfer to the owner of the share owner of the condominium is one thing on how regulations will be. And the question on, sorry for Mr. Bobo, on the Chinese benchmarking, but you have a step on the benchmarking. Normally I'm interested on the standard of the energy overproductions. It's, for my previous, I used to do a benchmarking on the thermal industry. So it's related to the local seasoning of the productions level, how you regulate or how you standardize on your benchmarking level in big country, big industry and small enterprises, and also in the how their fully productions capacity and all part load productions. It's also different than how we set up on the average level.
Yeah. Your question on the ROI, right? That one is, I think it's probably a bit tricky for in the scenario that you put. I don't think there is a clear way to divide the cost of the transformer to multiple occupants of a particular buildings or properties. Typically, the transformer would be purchased and installed by the property developer or by the utilities, and the ROI is is calculated based on the cost and also the loss through the transformer based on the loading profile of the building as a whole, but not individual unit. So there is no good answer in terms of how do you measure ROI for each individual occupant.
It would like to add up on the investment cost on the capex expense on the transformer on the developer.
Yes, that's right. So the evaluation of the cost would be from the perspective of the buyer or installers. So could be the developers, could be the property management company, or could be the utilities.
So actually for transformers, I think I have some more comments because I shared one case in 2017 because the total cost of electricity for the owner consists of electricity bill. In China, it's plus a connection fee. The connection fee is decided by the size of the transformer. If the developer or the demand side can precisely predict how much you need, then you can choose a very proper transformer which can cut your connection fee significantly. I think that's the demand side management if being precise. You can gain the energy saving. You can gain the saving from the energy bill plus the connection fee, because I think that's another very interesting topic. We did one case in China for the factory. They moved their place from one to another place, so they finally decided to refine their loading profile. Finally, they cut one transformer to meet their overall demand. That means they saved a lot of connection fee, not only from efficiency gain, but also for the proper demand side management. That's a very interesting topic. Maybe also, if in future it's widely applied, that means can affect maybe the standards of the transformer. Because currently only 50%, but maybe in future 80% or even 100% can be the standard. That means we can set the efficiency for 75 or 80%. But I think that's another trend. Maybe if we can widespread this concept to the owner, to the industry, I think one can also make the change of the efficiency of transformer. Here we can see that 50% is an optimum point, but 100% it's worse. But in future we have to focus on 75 or 100% efficiency. That's my comment for the first question. And you have very good question for the second question, because you notify the difference between 2012 and 2010. The 2012 table is just directly translation from the standards, but actually in 2017 table, it set different requirements for different productivity scale for factories with 4,000 tons a day, 2 to 4,000 tons a day, or maybe below 1,000 tons a day. I think they set 3 to 4 different productivity, different requirements for 2007 version. I think due to the market development and also maybe some low efficient, so small scale industries or cement factories has been phased out of them on the market. So finally, they decided in the 2012 version, they set unified standard for all. For the 2007 version, it specified different productivity. That's right, because I just make it simplify, understand to compare with each other. But actually, 27 version they have distinguished requirements for different productivity. But for 2012 version, all the same. It doesn't matter how much you produce every day. It doesn't matter you half load or fully load or overload. So all the same. It's only decided by the performance of the production.
Okay, thank you very much, all the speakers, and give them a big hand. Thank you very much.